Like every picture, this one had a beginning and an end, but the ending wasn't what I'd first planned. Some time ago, I wrote a t-shirt tutorial for Printaholic.com. I wanted a design that I could use to demonstrate what I was teaching, so I came up with a clown juggling his head. Now, I like dreaming up silly ideas sometimes, which probably comes as no surprise, but as time went by, this one picked up another dimension. I thought it could be fun to have a clown contest, so I added in some extra characters which complicated things quite a bit, but I persisted with them for a particular reason. You see, I'd started to think about how we can react to other people's achievements and abilities. I mean, we can just be awestruck at this amazing thing we're witnessing, or maybe we can try to figure out how it was done in case we can learn how to do it ourselves. Sometimes we might ignore all that and just freely enjoy it, but we could also be bitter or maybe discouraged, realizing that we may never get to their level of skill or success. I wanted to remember these things when I looked at other people's work, especially work that's way beyond my level, so I was pretty determined to keep the extra clowns in. But I knew they still needed to keep out of the way of the main guy visually, and that was the tough part. One trick I used was to unify a few of the main elements along invisible lines, which helped to organise the picture into shapes and directions which were a lot easier for the eye to follow. The second main tactic was to fade the background characters out a bit and leave them uncoloured, while using bright colours on the main clown. I thought this looked technically okay, but it still looked a bit too cluttered to me, so I decided to quit the t-shirt approach and go for digital painting. My first attempt was okay, but still not balanced. Fortunately, I'd only worked with rough sketching, so I hadn't wasted too much time. For the next attempt, I moved the spotlight from the front, where it was lighting all the characters equally, to the top, where it could light the main character differently than the others. This made it easier to separate the characters with things like light against dark, intense colours against dull colours, high contrast against low contrast, and warm against cool. I'd done something similar for sloth darts, and I didn't particularly want to repeat myself, but the overhead spotlight just made too much sense in this case, so I went ahead anyway. One more element was lighting up the dust in the air, which helped to separate the main clown from the other ones even more, kind of like a screen. The final step was the shading, which involved a lot of tweaking, but generally speaking it was the easiest part. It was more about refining stuff than actually making major choices. I think the main challenge at this point was trying to give the impression of light bouncing up from the ground, but even that wasn't too hard, since it was still only one light source for the background clowns and just two for the main clown. I decided to not polish up the brushwork too much, because I didn't think it would add a lot of value, just a lot of hours, and I thought it might even suck some of the energy and personality out of the picture. So I just got things reasonably tidy and left it there. The end result may not exactly be a Picasso, but I think it came together okay.